of her resignation letter was really something. Let me quote a bit more. Those of us on the inside know just how swiftly and how dramatically the politics of the public broadcaster have shifted. It used to be that I was the one furthest to the left in any newsroom, occasionally causing strain in story meetings with my views on issues like the housing crisis. I am now easily the most conservative, frequently sparking tension by questioning identity politics. This happened in the span of about 18 months. My own politics did not change. That's quite something. She says she was the most left-wing person in the newsroom a decade ago. Now she's the most right-wing and she didn't do any changing? Now don't let me slow down. I'll read some more. To work at the CBC in the current climate is to embrace cognitive dissonance and to abandon journalistic integrity. It is to sign on enthusiastically to a radical political agenda that originated on Ivy League campuses in the United States and spread through American social media platforms that monetize outrage and stoke societal divisions. It is to pretend that the woke worldview is near universal, even if it is far from popular with those you know and speak to and interview and read. Hey, don't blame America, sister. Political correctness is just as much a Canadian problem as it is in America. Here's the key line in her whole thing. Look at this. To work at the CBC now is to accept the idea that race is the most significant thing about a person, and that some races are more relevant to the public conversation than others. It is, in my newsroom, to fill out racial profile forms for every guest you book, to actively book more people of some races and less of others. To work at the CBC is to submit to job interviews that are not about qualifications or experience, but instead demand the parroting of orthodoxies, the demonstration of fealty to dogma. It is to become less adversarial to government and corporations and more hostile to ordinary people with ideas that Twitter doesn't like. Can you believe it? They fill out forms racially profiling the people they invite on their shows. How gross is that? I'll read some more. It is to endlessly document microaggressions, but pay little attention to evictions, to spotlight companies' political platitudes, but have little interest in wages or working conditions. It is to allow sweeping societal changes like lockdowns, vaccine mandates, and school closures to roll out with little debate, to see billionaires amass extraordinary wealth and bureaucrats amass enormous power with little scrutiny, and to watch the most vulnerable amongst us die of drug overdoses with little comment. It is to consent to the idea that a growing list of subjects are off the table, the dialogue itself can be harmful, that the big issues of our time are already settled. It is to capitulate to certainty, to shut down critical thinking, to stamp out curiosity, to keep one's mouth shut, to not ask questions, to not rock the boat. This while the world burns. Wow, she actually expressed some doubt about forced vaccines, or at least an interest in a debate about that subject and other things, like the establishment's love for billionaires and big pharma. This woman says she hasn't moved to the right, and perhaps I believe her. Those used to be things that leftists cared about. Not anymore. Let me read some more. How could good journalism possibly be done under such conditions? How could any of this possibly be healthy for society? All of this raises larger questions about the direction that North America is headed, questions about this new moment we are living through, and its impact on the body politic of class divisions and economic inequality, on education, on mental health, on literature and comedy, on science, on liberalism and democracy. These questions keep me up at night. I can no longer push them down. I will no longer hold them back. This Substack is an attempt to find some answers. I won't read the rest. Substack, by the way, is a publishing site. It's like a little blog, a bit like an email system. So she's apparently starting one of those. I think I'm going to follow her, you know. I'll do more than that. I think I'm going to invite her on as a guest to the show, and who knows if she would accept. Maybe even, I know this is nuts, maybe to have her as a contributor from time to time.
That's an excerpt from my daily show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.